This is Court Storming with your host, Perry Sook.
Welcome to a very special Super Bowl Sunday edition of Court Storming. The Johnnies with 2 wins on the week, but we're here to talk about the last one. Number 3, UConn at the Garden, and the Johnnies make it 9 wins in a row. Joining me now is a man who, to me, just represents everything that the Big East basketball is. That is John Fanta. John, thank you so much for the time today.
Perry, great to be with you, and wow. We're inside Madison Square Garden, where the Big East tournament is now less than 5 weeks away, and we got a pretty strong taste of it as we're talking right now.
I got to say, it was, on all accounts, it felt like elevated game. You know, I know that Caravan postgame was a little upset and said that they didn't execute as much, but it didn't feel like one team was playing poorly. It just felt like it was things working for St. John's.
Absolutely. 2 top 15 teams in my eyes, because St. John's has won 9 in a row. And what this team has found on the defensive end of the floor was on display in the second half. We knew early in the season, even in some of the tough losses, that this team could eventually score the ball in a couple of different ways, and they had enough there. But I think the question that you entered with on Friday night was, would St. John's be able to really challenge UConn defensively and guard Silas Demery? And they forced Silas Demery
9 turnovers
into 9 turnovers. That's the Huskies' star point guard. He's been the best point guard in the Big East. He's in the mix for Player of the Year. They really made Demery work for what he got. Zuby Ejiofor showed why he could be the Big East Player of the Year. 21 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists. He had 3 blocks, 2 steals. He does it all, Perry. And Dylan Mitchell is the ultimate athlete. Dylan Darling is, in fact, the closer for this team. This was a big-time moment. It was the best moment for this team of the season, and I think it's the best regular season win, individual win for Rick Pitino in his tenure.
I think that our point could very well be made, especially, it's all one game at a time. It's all how your team is playing and how your team is playing at the end of the year. But when you have the expectations coming in this year with the highest ranking in program history, well, now you just beat a team that is right now currently number 3 in the country, and that is fantastic. And they might not move too much come Monday, but St. John's should definitely be a little bit higher, I think, than 22.
No question. They're like I said, to me, they're playing like a top 15 team. Will they probably be about 17 or 18 in the polls? Yeah, that's fine. But the fact is, this team has found that gear. They are one of the most dangerous teams in college basketball right now because they play complementary basketball, and their length and athleticism causes problems. And it caused problems for Connecticut. We haven't seen UConn really get out-athleted much this season. They're one of the best teams in the country, but I thought that Ejifor, he had the advantage in the front court. I thought that Dylan Mitchell created mismatches on both ends of the floor. His defense was on display, his ability to get to the rim. St. John's did a great job in the start of the second half. Through the first 5 minutes of the second half, points in the paint just in those first 5 minutes, it was St. John's 10, UConn 2. St. John's got to the rim. Did they shoot the 3 great?
No.
No, they didn't. I mean, the box score says
for a long time.
5 for 19. But you know what? They didn't get destroyed from there, and that's how you hang in, but they got to the free throw line. They made it a priority to attack UConn's defense, to go to the rim, and they took 31 free throws to just 12 for the Huskies. That's the difference in the game right there.
Fantastic. You called it Rick Pitino's probably best win of his tenure, and I got to speak with the coach after the game. We're going to take a listen to that right now. Coach, you said it didn't matter if you lose this one, metrics-wise, UConn. What does it mean now that you've won it?
Well, it's not that it didn't matter. It just doesn't hurt us. We had to beat Depaul, and now we have to beat Xavier. But I'm going to relish this win. It's as good as the Garden's been in a long time, and it's very exciting for the fans, very exciting for our guys, and I'm real proud of all of them.
The atmosphere fantastic, and your team matching that. What stood out to you the most about today's win?
That our guys didn't get comfortable when they had the lead and didn't get down when they closed the gap. And that's the key to beating a great team, and certainly they're a great team.
Forced 15 turnovers, 31 trips to the line. Massive difference in UConn's trips. How do you coach that physicality?
Well, I said the one weakness of Connecticut, and they don't have any, is they're prone to foul. They foul a lot. So we got to make our free throws, which we did not do totally. I mean, Oziah missing was shocking. Bryce got it together, made those 2. So we exploited that. We kept trying to go to Zuby in crunch time to try and get fouled, and he was brilliant tonight. I mean, when do you get a player that Legion scoring, Legion rebounding, Legion assists, Legion steals, and Legion block shots? I mean, it's very rare.
And then last quick one for you. Coach, you got 900 against Richard. Now you have a chance to get 904 and pass Roy Williams against him. Is he going to pull out all the stops again to try to stop you?
He will do everything humanly to stop me, certainly. But Richard and I, we don't really think it's him versus me. It's Xavier. He's going to get, when he gets his NIL up to the rest of us, he's going to be one of the top Big East teams. He's a brilliant young coach. Obviously, I love my son and brag on him all the time, but he's brilliant, a brilliant mind for the game. But we got to match wits. We'll be ready for him. I gave my players a big curfew tonight, 5 a.m., so they better get in.
Coach, top of the Big East right now, St. John's Red Storm. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Court Storming with Perry Sook.
Yeah, so Xavier up next for him. Obviously, that'd be win 904. My question for you, John, this is the one people had circled. This is the one that was going to test and show you how good this team was. Where's the next, outside of a trap game? Is everything now a trap game until they play UConn again at the end of the month?
For sure, because they're going to get everybody's best shot, and you don't want to be feeling yourself. Now, they have Zuby Ejiofor on their team, and he never gets complacent. He has a relentless work ethic and motor about him. He's just a special talent. I think when you look at this St. John's team, they're too well coached, and they have too much leadership from Ejifor, from Dylan Mitchell, and even from a guy that we didn't see in this win, but Sadiku Ibinayo is
Fantastic
a guy
leader,
that adds something to this locker room. That's St. John's DNA. Perry, they got to lean on that here, but I think they've just got to maintain efficiency from the standpoint of don't beat yourselves. Mm-hmm. I thought at one point this year against Auburn and then against Kentucky, they let some bad sequences then define how they play on both ends of the floor. Like if they had some bad offense, then they weren't guarding.
Sure.
What we learned Friday night against UConn was they had a next play mentality. When UConn counterpunched, St. John's showed their composure. They showed their maturation. Now you got to keep that up. That's the test of a great team. Do they not have the letdown? So you're right. That's what the focus is now.
Yeah, I mean, especially with, push it, get the first double-digit lead of the game, 10 points, and then you have, the counterpunch from UConn, the 6-0. Well, guess what? Those 6-0 runs, you said it, in the Auburn game, that 8-minute stretch was some of the worst St. John's basketball, I said, because they got in their head. And Rick has constantly been a preacher of, hey, don't get down. Don't be afraid of failure. He said that to you on Friday night, I told the guys, I'm confident we'll win if we are not afraid of failure. And I think that is fantastic. And you hit the nail on the head with Zuby Ejiofor. What a consummate captain he is, and just everything that embodies the C on his chest. Fantastic game at the Garden. I had a chance to catch up with Zuby after the game, and we're going to go ahead and take a listen to that now. Zuby, 9 in a row, but this one against the number 3 team in the country. Just how does it feel right now to be coming out of this game with a win?
All the emotions are literally flying. Obviously, UConn is a really tough opponent on both sides of the ball. And we knew that, coming in, we're going to have to play, team ball and put together 40 minutes to be able to come out with the win. And that's exactly what we did. So I can't be any more proud than the rest of the guys.
Speaking of emotions, I saw you, you were amping up the crowd. You were giving smiles and stuff when things went your way. You say these ones, they all mean the same on the stat sheet, but does this one feel like it means more?
We know the stakes of, realistically, we know the stakes of, what the game, means for us, for them. And the fan base, I think that's exactly what, made it a lot more special. The crowd, I was just feeding off their energy and they were really passionate about the game. And, I want to just thank, Johnny's Nation for us pulling out this win, because it wasn't easy. And like I said, I couldn't be any more proud of the guys.
They showed out and you showed out for them, 21, 10, and 7. Just what was working for you tonight? Were they feeding you, or was that were you just feeling it tonight?
A little bit of both. I think obviously the guys wanted to get me involved, and Coach Pitino was, is doing a great job of telling the guys, just work inside and out. Just put, giving the ball in the post, and I'm able to find guys, in their correct spots, or, be able to, win my matchup for the most part one-on-one. So, I was fully confident, just coming in, because, I trusted my work and I knew that, we're gonna have to, play together to be able to come out with this victory.
And then last one for you. Obviously, this is the one fans at least had circled as the biggest roadblock to just rolling through. How do you guys keep up this momentum, this physicality, this toughness next week? Back playing against Coach's son. Just how do you keep it all rolling?
Just stay level-headed. Don't think too far ahead. Nothing changes. Our level of preparation, our focus, can't change. Xavier is a really well-coached team, and what they bring to the table. It was a tough game for us. Last game, so. We're going to watch film and figure out areas where we could be a lot more, successful and move on from there.
Zuby, thank you so much. Congratulations on the massive win. So rolling is what you'd like to do. Now, my question for you, John, this team has had to battle back from double-digit losses to we could say, inferior competition during this 9-game win streak. This team has also just beat the number 3 team in the country. This team also had to use its defense to beat a Depaul team in Chicago where you're not normally used to having to see your team play pretty well to beat a Depaul team. Are you worried? Because I think back to last year in the Arkansas game, and everything went wrong. Nobody was hitting shots. Everybody was in foul trouble, and just the St. John's team didn't look like it at all. There's been stretches of the season where it's looked like that, but during this 9-game stretch, they have continued to move in a positive direction. Do you see any giant pitfalls that this team could fall into?
Well, just if they were to over-rely on the three-point shot and they're falling into trying to make them and trying to make that too much of a thing, what I thought they did a terrific job of was shot selection in the win over UConn. Because, again, they created off the dribble. They found ways to the bucket. If it wasn't always there, they did kick out for some shots. And Joe Sandin, 2 of the defining shots of the game happened to be threes. Zuby Ejiofor and Bryce Hopkins. They hit 2 threes in about a 3-minute span. So you still had to find a way to make them. I think for this team, it's a matter of they still can get better off this. And oh, by the way, Perry, now there's a mentality of why not defend your Big East regular season title?
Sure.
By beating UConn,
They're
they
in the
now
driver's
own the
seat.
tiebreaker.
Exactly.
So they're 11-1. UConn is 12-1. And this Johnnies team now is determined to try to get there. But if they're going to get there, they can't have that letdown game where they're just not playing defense. They're letting Xavier get wide open looks. I have a hard time believing that happens, but Trey Carroll's a dangerous player. Philip Borovichin too. But I think it's just, you've got this physicality advantage. You've got this athleticism advantage. Use it. Keep going to the rim. Make that defense collapse. And then as the season goes on, as we get to that final stretch, Joe Sandin and Ian Jackson. I've always pointed to those 2 guys. If they can do productive things, it really levels this team up to a Sweet 16 team.
Now, when Ian Jackson goes off, he looks like all the point guard you thought you were getting when Rick proclaimed him the next great point guard, and then all the point guard drama ensues. John, I love you because you watch more than just Big East basketball. We're a little one-minded here on Court Storming. Coming into the weekend, Johnny's slated as a 6 seed. Do you see them moving up from this win?
Yeah, the 4 seed is alive. I do see them moving up. I think right now they'd be a 5. I think they've got to continue to win. They don't have to win at UConn, but if they were to win out in the Big East, which is very possible, or if they're in a mode where they're 17-3 and are able to get to the Big East final, they could have a case for that 4 line. But I think that this St. John's team, they move from a 6 to a 5 seed with this win tonight. The top of the country is so good. It'll be interesting to see how the top of the country frames out, Perry. I think that's what St. John's has to, they've got to keep leveling up here because Arizona, Michigan, Connecticut, Duke, Iowa State, right. We have never seen a top tier of the country be this deep and be this loaded. So St. John's isn't there. Know that Coach Pitino will tell his team, we're not where we need to be yet. But they've got to keep pushing. And if they do, they now can, to me, afford a road loss to UConn and still be a top 5 seed. If they continue to win like this and they win at UConn, then they're going to have an argument for the 4 line.
Fantastic. Well, John, thank you so much for the time. What a fun way to celebrate a Friday night win at the Garden, then a Super Bowl Sunday show with the John Fanta. And guys, you know the drill. We'll be back here next week, next Sunday night. But for now, that does it for this episode of Court Storming.